Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're having an amazing day and welcome back to another video. This here is a AA battery and this is the new Insta360 GO 3S, a very tiny camera that has an insane low weight of 39 grams. This other one is the Pocket 3, probably the best-selling and most popular camera made by DJI. Both of these cameras can record in 4K, and in today's video, I want to compare them in terms of video quality, stabilization, low light performance, and other important details that you should consider before you buy either one of them. And just so you know, this video is not sponsored by Insta360 or DJI. With the Pocket 3, you are going to get the camera that is attached to a mechanical gimbal, and the idea of this is to make your videos more stable and to keep the horizon straight. There is a touch-enabled screen that you can rotate to a horizontal or vertical position, which is going to make it easier when you're filming videos. This is not an action camera. In fact, the DJI Pocket 3 is more fragile than other cameras and is not even waterproof. On the other hand, the Insta360 GO 3S is this magnetic camera that is very easy to use almost anywhere. It's easy to fit on your hat or your chest with the accessories that you get when you buy this. The GO 3S can be used by itself or you can place it inside this pod, so now it looks and feels more like an action camera. But you need to be aware that the tiny camera is waterproof down to 10 meters, but the pod is not. What I like about the pod is that it can charge the battery inside the main camera a few times. In the back, it has a touch-enabled screen where you can see a live view of the camera and change different settings. The screen can be flipped around, which is going to be useful for vlogging or selfie videos. And another great feature is that this pod can be used as a remote control with a very decent range. There is a new feature that lets you quickly select the orientation of your video. If the camera is set on a horizontal position, it will record in landscape mode. And if the camera is set on a vertical position, your video will be recorded in portrait mode. These two cameras can record in 4K, so most people are going to expect them to have the same quality, but it's not just about the resolution. We also have other things to consider. The Pocket 3 has a much larger sensor than the GO 3S, which is going to let more light into the sensor. It can record using 10-bit color instead of the 8-bit color that the GO 3S has, and we also get the option to record using H.265 instead of only using H.264. The bitrate seems to be the same, both rated at 130 megabits per second, but the Pocket 3 seems to be able to get higher bitrates most of the time. Does any of this even matter for video quality? Well, the answer is yes. I really like the quality that we now have with the GO 3S, but the reality is that side by side, the Pocket 3 will have an even higher quality. You should be able to see more details, texture, and dynamic range is also going to be higher. Another advantage of the Pocket 3 is that it can record using 60 frames per second at 4K in regular video mode. The GO 3S has a big limitation here because at 4K it can only record using 24 or 30 frames per second. And yeah, you can record at 50 frames per second, but you need to lower the resolution to 2.7K. So there is no 60 frames per second, but I would say that you're going to get good results even though you won't be able to record at 4K. If you select slow motion mode, the Pocket 3 can record in 4K using 120 frames per second. The GO 3S, also using slow motion, will record at 100 frames per second, but this is done using 2.7K. For low light conditions, the Pocket 3 has a special low light video mode that will lift the shadows to bring up the details, and it will apply a denoiser at the same time. I've said many times that sometimes I forget to use this mode, and I really regret that because there is a significant difference if you're dealing with very low light situations like these two examples that you're looking at right now. As I mentioned on my review of the GO 3S, the videos in low light are not going to fall apart and the results are going to look decent. But we have to keep in mind that these videos are not going to beat those taken with the Pocket 3, and this is because of the 1-inch sensor and everything else that I mentioned before. If you take a look at these videos taken indoors inside this coffee shop, you're going to see that the levels of noise are lower on the Pocket 3, and just to be clear, low light mode was not used in any of these videos. And the same goes with this video taken inside the subway. Cloudy days can also be tricky because there is less light to play with, and once again, the Go 3S can deliver decent results, but the Pocket 3 will give you a higher quality video. These two cameras have a different stabilization system. Having a gimbal on the Pocket 3 will make your videos more stable, but you can't use this as a point-and-shoot camera because the gimbal has some movement limitations and there is a small delay when the camera is moving. I know that there is a new gimbal mode that was introduced recently, but this has a big problem. It only works if the camera is pointing in the same direction as the screen. So if you turn the camera around to shoot something else, it's not going to work, and I don't understand what's the point of this if we can't even look at the screen. The Go 3S has an electronic stabilization, so everything is done inside the camera, and using regular video mode, it does a very good job even at the lowest setting. There are no movement limitations, but the downside is that it doesn't have horizon level, and instead, it has this feature that they call horizon or tilt fix. This is going to make the horizon straight with a heavy limitation of just about 10 degrees. And I truly like this camera, but that's not too useful, is it? The only way to get 45 or 360 degrees horizon lock is by using free frame, which is a different video mode where you're going to have to do some editing using the Insta360 app. Cameras that have an electronic stabilization do have a small problem in low light conditions. You are going to get this motion blur or vibration glitch effect, and in my opinion, it doesn't look good. The Go 3S has an option to reduce this effect at the expense of getting a lower exposure, and is not quite perfect. But if we look at the Pocket 3, it will not have this kind of problem, so your videos will always be stable without that annoying effect. Using the Pocket 3 for vlogging, or if your subject is too close to the camera, it creates this background blur that is going to be more appealing. But this cannot be turned off, and some users have been complaining about it because they don't like it. With the Go 3S, you will not only have a wider field of view, but most of the background is going to be in focus. And the good thing about it is that it helps to prevent focus hunting when something gets between the subject and the camera. And this is something that can happen if you use the Pocket 3. Unless you want to select the single focus mode, which is almost like having manual focus inside this camera, but is not ideal for everyone. I want to mention really quickly that the minimum focus distance on the Pocket 3 is 20 centimeters, and on the Go 3, it's around 30 centimeters. These two cameras have a 2x zoom function that can be used when you are recording. I like that on the Pocket 3 you can use a slider on the screen, or you can set the joystick to zoom in or out. On the Go 3S, you can tap on this icon or press and hold to get this dial, but zooming with this is not going to be very smooth. The battery is not replaceable on either device, and on the Pocket 3, it will last for about 2.5 hours using 4K videos. There is a battery handle that you can attach at the bottom of the camera, and this will give you about 1.5 hours of extra battery life. The Go 3S by itself will record for 38 minutes or 2 hours and 17 minutes using the Action Pod. I did the test at 4K, not 1080p, using maximum settings. For overheating, I did my regular test with no air conditioning or airflow using their maximum resolution and highest settings, and neither one of them had any issues. With the Pocket 3, you have multiple options to use external microphones, and this is not going to be the case with the Go 3S. But honestly, I can't complain about the internal microphone on either camera. They're going to be good enough for everyday videos, so let's take a look at these examples. Right, and this is yet another microphone test. We are testing the Go 3S and the DJI Pocket 3, just comparing it side by side. Not really windy, but we got the highway next to us, so. And this is yet another microphone test. We are testing the Go 3S and the DJI Pocket 3, just comparing it side by side. Not really windy, but we got the highway next to us, so. Other details that you have to consider is that the Pocket 3 can record using the log-M, which is a flat color profile which is great and flexible if you want to color grade your videos in post. The Go 3S has an internal memory, so you can choose between 64 or 128 gigabytes. It doesn't support external memories, but Insta360 is selling this quick reader that you can use to transfer your videos to a micro SD card. It is a bit expensive, but it's a good solution if you're traveling. For skin tones, the Pocket 3 seems to be more on point. I've noticed that the Go 3S is a bit warmer, not to the point to become a deal breaker, but recording a video at sunset, the color science on the skin doesn't look very good. With the Pocket 3, I feel that it looks more balanced and just better in my opinion. I know that choosing one or the other is not so easy, but it is important that you think about what you need, and it also depends on your shooting style. For my personal videos, I use the Pocket 3 more often just because I know that I can get higher quality videos with good stabilization and not having to worry about low light conditions. And features like active tracking, which allows the camera to track a person or an object, makes my life way easier as a solo content creator. But I am planning to use the Insta360 GO 3S more often now that it has 4K resolution. And I have to confess that I like the small form factor, how discreet it can be, and how easy it is to use it just about anywhere, and also as a POV or behind the scenes camera. I never really enjoyed using this thing around my neck with an action camera. Makes me feel like a dog. Anyway, the links to these two products are going to be down below. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.